Good afternoon, good evening, and good night, and welcome to Throwbacks, where we talk all things cool and retro. Today we are going to be talking about the 2003 Star Wars Clone Wars line. Now, most of you may remember this from back in the day. Oh, God, that dates me saying back in the day. Feels like it was last week, but anywho, these figures came out to coincide with the cartoon on Cartoon Network by Genndy Tartakovsky. And if you've never seen that, check it out on YouTube or wherever. You can probably find it pretty cheap on DVD if you'd like also, but it's really good. It's one of my favorite versions of the Clone Wars and one of my favorite Star Wars things in general. But the action figure line, they're pretty simple, they got the basically 5 POA, not a lot to them. This is, none of them really have too much articulation or design, but, it kind of sticks with the cartoon. The cartoon was kind of 2D, simple animation, but it was really something else. And the figures are really worth picking up if you like that cartoon. So I think I'm a big fan. I think they're awesome, and I got most of them, and I just want to share them with you today. So let's look at, here's Captain Fordo, or they just call him ARC Trooper in this. There were several ARC Troopers in the show. It was kind of weird that they didn't do like a blue repaint, for the ARC Lieutenant, but that's okay. Pretty cool picture here. And let's see, Star Wars, Hasbro.com, yeah. This is some back in the day stuff here. I love it. I really love it. Through the creative vision of George Lucas and Lucasfilm Limited, the Cartoon Network, the Clone Wars are brought to life. Yes, they were brought to life. And they were really awesome in these short little cartoons that we had to wait a whole week for 5 minutes of action and fun. But you can see some of the figures. Let's go through them real quick. We saw Captain Fordo, who they call ARC Trooper, and I guess he came out a little later because it says new for season 3. Even though he's like one of the first characters you see. I only remember there being like 2 seasons, but maybe I'm remembering it wrong. But that's okay. We'll go through the clones since I got them here. For the other clones, like they kind of repaint them with, yellow for Commander, red for Captain, blue for Lieutenant, green for Sergeant. We didn't get a green for Sergeant, but we did get blue, red, yellow, and the plain old Private here. And they none of these guys actually appeared in the cartoon, but of course they're gonna repaint them and re-release them because people love repaints. Just kidding. But no, I thought these were cool and I picked them up, of course. But if you can find these, they are definitely worth getting. See, it even shows just the basic clone trooper. And, everybody's familiar with the show, The Clone Wars. It's, now on Disney+. The animated, with Captain Rex and all those guys. If you look at them, they're based on this animation, even though it's, not 2D, but the armor is based on this. I know, details, right? Anyway, so that's all the clones. I like the clones, so it's all about them, the Clone Wars, right? And let's see, here's Yoda. Yoda is kind of in my opinion, the weakest figure of the line, because we'll talk about that in a minute. He just kind of has the least articulation. He's just kind of a little statue. But, that's a lot of them are like that. And, it's fine. They're basically just, knickknacks at the end of the day. They're not like action figures. They come posed. That's the pose you get. And that was kind of common at the time for the, like Attack of the Clones line. A lot of those figures they came in one pose and that's it. Maybe you could kind of move their arms up and down and, that's about it. But love Yoda. Very good likeness of his animation. I mean, say what you will for the simplicity of these figures. They sure match the animation, which I respect. And General Grievous. This was the first time we saw General Grievous. So, you know, that's what he looked like. And kind of goes into just a slight backstory about him, why, you know, why he has his cough, which I thought was cool. You know, due to the man, Mace Windu. I like how his name's in purple. That's cool. Yeah, he was really cool in the show. I kind of like cartoon Mace Windu more than actual Mace Windu in the movie, to be honest. I think he was... Well, you know, being a cartoon, they just made all the Jedi way more badass. You know, you get to see way more Jedi powers, Jedi abilities, and stuff that they just, you know, didn't go for in the movies. And you can see here, there's a couple of like collector packs, commemorative DVD collections, and I didn't buy all of them because some of the figures were kind of redundant and I already had, but you know, it's pretty cool. And these you get Anakin, where he goes through his trials to be a Jedi Knight. You get Sassy 10 and a Phase 2 Clone Trooper, which is pretty cool. You know, they didn't have all the clones you see in the show are pretty basic. Like, there's no, you know, orange 212th or blue 501st. You know, all that didn't really come about until, you know, this is before Revenge of the Sith. So, you know, this was like Clone Wars in real time. You know, and this, I think Cody had his, like, by the time we see Cody in the show, like, Revenge of the Sith had came out, so we knew what Cody looked like. So they had to make him orange, even though I don't think in the movie they even go into, like, you know, he's the 212th and, you know, all the different battalions. But I know details, right? It's okay. And they got the more Episode 3 looking Kenobi in there, which I wish they had made a figure of him with his kind of half armor, kind of half cape, you know, or the full armor. You know, they could have done that. And then, you know, I already had Grievous, but, you know, so I'm just going to leave these guys in here. And, you know, Anakin when he fights Asajj Ventress, very cool. Dirge, I always thought Dirge was a little on the short side because he's pretty massive in the cartoon. He, like, just towers over the clones, and he has an epic fight with Obi-Wan Kenobi. Worth checking out just for that. You know, it shows where Asajj Ventress kind of joined up with Dooku and Palpatine, and you can see her be a real badass in it too. It's really cool. And Dooku, you know, I think this version of Dooku actually looks better than the one in the newer Clone Wars. Newer, it's like super old at this point. And you know, just regular Padawan. Anakin's still a Padawan at this point. He's got his little robot hand still, and there's not a lot of dialogue in these shows, but it shows so much backstory and so much lore from these characters, like, you know, how Anakin's robot hand changed from the end of Attack of the Clones to Revenge of the Sith. But let's open one up, shall we? Let's do that. Let's see. Let's open up Grievous. So, General Grievous, the droid general of the Confederacy of Independent Systems. Alright, and when you open these guys up, they each came with a stand, which I appreciate. You know, I wish more figures came with stands. Let's see what else was available at the time. Galactic Heroes, which, funny story, me and Bad Brad went to like a little thrift store somewhere, and they had like a jillion of these things in a giant bin, and I asked the lady, I said, how much for these? She's like, $3. I was like, okay, done. But maybe I'll bring those on. Here's the figures from Revenge of the Sith that were, it was sneak preview. They hadn't even come out yet for the time. I don't even remember them being a Wookiee blaster, but that's cool. And then, of course, here's the figures we're looking at today. So, all right, let's get Grievous out of here carefully because I don't want to hurt his lightsabers that he added to his collection. And there he is. Wow. Look at this guy. He is in full attack mode. And, you know, like most of them, he's a statue, right? Which is, you know, I love articulation, but, you know, the modern figures, they just fall down. They fall apart. They're just kind of mushy. Whoops, well, as I say that, his head pops off. But the figures at this point in time were still, you know, made with a little more quality, I feel like. You know, they're a little sturdier, other than his head falling off. But what do you do? All right, so what does he do? He's only got the 2 arms. You can't split his arms into 4, sadly, but that's okay. Does this arm move at all? Looks like it does. Or is that like a fake joint? I guess it moves a little bit, but that's okay. I like how he has his more lightsabers attached to his waist. He got from Fallen Jedi. Got his big old claw feet and his cape, which, you know, he's pretty simplistic looking, as you would expect, but pretty cool. He was really menacing in the show. He was very scary the first time you see him. So that is General Grievous. Okay, so here they are out of the package. This is what they look like, and they look great. I really like the detail, the colors, and again, they're trying to look like the cartoon. So if you like the way the cartoon looks, you win. And I do, because this cartoon is, you know, it's very special to me for a lot of reasons, and had fun back in the day watching it and waiting for new episodes to come out. And, you know, I'm no spring chicken. I was in my 30s watching this. I wasn't like a little kid, but, you know, probably it was one of the last things to still give me that kind of feeling, you know, like you'd wake up Saturday morning with your cereal and, you know, watch cartoons. You know, I have nostalgia for that kind of feeling, and, you know, the Clone Wars, that's where it's at for me. So yes, I do love the new Clone Wars, but man, this was really good. You know, you can't beat what came first. Well, you can, but, you know, this was first, and it's very special. So see what I mean about Dirge not being that big? I mean, he's a little bigger than like Anakin, but, you know, he should be like, in my mind, he's like this massive guy. And they gave him his lance, which he just, you know, rides on and kind of jousts with Obi-Wan. They could have made an Obi-Wan in clone armor. I don't know why they didn't, but oh well. See the Phase 2 clone? He's just like the Phase 1, just has the different helmet. Saj Ventress, very cool. Her lightsabers remind me a lot of what they did with the modern, like, Ahsoka lightsabers. Of course, you know, they're red because she's a baddie. And let's see, the Obi-Wan, that's kind of more like the Episode 3 Obi-Wan. Kind of, I guess. Although he didn't really wear, like, his regular Jedi robes in the cartoon. He had kind of a cape and like a little bit of armor, like you see him wear in the later Clone Wars. A lot of the designs on the Clone Wars that, you know, came out in, what, 2009 at this point? 2008? I can't even remember now. You know, a lot of the designs were based on this, so wasn't too far off from how we saw Obi-Wan. You know, Anakin just his pad. They didn't give him his little back knot, which is unfortunate, but, you know, I like his little animated lightsaber. It's cool. And, you know, Sassy Tan was just kind of a repaint of Obi-Wan with a different head. So I wish that, you know, he also appears in armor in the cartoon, which has a really cool design that I wish they had made. But they did end up making that in the realistic line years later, but I wanted it in this line, which I thought that would have been cool. And, you know, see Cody, probably the first named clone. I guess he was the first clone that we knew his name, what his name was. And he had a jetpack in the cartoon, which he used. It was pretty cool. This doesn't come off or anything. And he had a little pistol right there, which they showed Fordo. There's a scene in one of the later episodes where you see Fordo in his Phase 2 armor, and he had a little pistol, but it was like on his back, and he had kind of a Commander Neo helmet, but it was, very animated looking, very stylized. And I guess when they went on to make the the Filoni Clone Wars, that I guess Fordo just became Rex, because their design is about the same. Of course, we all know Rex was supposed to be Alpha from the comics, which that's a whole other story. But I want to focus on these figures because I think they're so awesome. And again, like I was saying, Yoda's kind of a statue. He's in this one pose, but he looks cool, man. He looks cool. I always thought the design for Asajj Ventress was a little weird, but she's a cool character. Very cool. And she doesn't even need a stand because her skirt kind of makes her stand up. She's got like little feet under it, like high boots, I guess. I'm not trying to upskirt her, just want to show you. And then we see one of the coolest figures is, here's Anakin, how he looks in the later episodes, when he gets the little thing, that leech or whatever, that crawls across him and makes the little design. This is when he passes his Jedi Knight trials, I think. Or I think he was already a knight at that point, but that was like kind of the last thing he really had to go through. And we looked at Grievous, and here's one of the clones that's a repaint. This is the lieutenant, and he's the same as the others, just repainted. And Dooku, like I said, I think this version of Dooku looks better than what we saw in the Filoni Clone Wars. But it's kind of hard to take Christopher Lee and make him look like any kind of regular cartoon character, I guess. I think they did good. Kind of hard to focus on him, actually. There we go. There we go. You can look at it, his head's kind of flat. Anyhow. And his lightsaber looks cool, of course. Count Dooku, Lord Tyrannus. It's sad they didn't make a Palpatine figure, even though he didn't really show up much. And maybe it could have been like a little hologram or something. That the figures I would have liked to have seen in this line included before they ended it were like Shaak Ti, Palpatine, a Padme. That would have been good. Heck, even 3PO and R2 would have been cool. But anyway, that is the 2003, 2005 to 2005 Clone Wars line. What do you think of it? Did you collect these back in the day? You got a drawer full of them in your junk drawer? Let me know in the comments. What did you think? Did you buy these? Did you like these? Let me know. And thanks for hanging out with me today and watching this video. On behalf of me and Bad Brad, we are going to throw one back. Please hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. We have new videos every day. And until next time, we will see ya.